So today we're going to show you what I did to the EV I drive, the Nissan Leaf. I drive an hour to and from work every day. To drive that distance and have heat and not freeze your ass off, it takes, well, I thought 20 kilometers out of it, but actually today, hitting it and doing some small jaunts around town, it takes 35 away. So if you run the AC in the summertime, it takes 15. If you run cruise control, it takes 5. And if you run heat, it takes 35. And I need pretty much every ounce of range to get to work and know that I have some extra. I usually have about 35, 40-ish, give or take, on either end of my journey. More so on the drive home because I'm going downhill, versus when I'm going to work, it's a little bit of an uphill battle. And then weather and other stuff play into factor with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I was going to do a video last time, but yeah, I didn't look my best, and I decided to delete it because, well, I didn't look my best. I looked like a hobo. I pretty much still do. Well, see, but I had hair and shit all over my face. It was another pretty sight. But anyway, I'm going to show you what I've done, and I'll step you through what I kind of did. So I'm going to go outside and show you the car. So here I am in my Nissan Leaf. This is the display for it. It's showing, you probably can't see it on camera right now, but 3 Celsius in the car. You hit the on button, you hold it for a second or so, and it'll start running. If you wanted to go from, because in default it's pulses per second, so hold this one and this one up or down at the same time, and it'll change it into Celsius, which I find runs a little bit better than pulses per second. I've got a 10-liter tank just over my shoulder here. You can just barely see it. But it holds 10 liters, and at this point in time, with all the shit going on in Canada, the fuel for this thing is $1.66. So I just picked up fuel for my heater in the garage, and it cost me $20 for 11 liters. So that tank is about $19 right now. And so far I've run 4 days on it, and I've only gone down probably about 2 or so inches. But yeah, in this car, in this car, I've got the cable running from here. Underneath this, it goes under this section here, goes across my legs, goes down into the can, or the panel down below here, and then goes up and over the back and goes into the back corner, where it is sitting below a false floor. It's a 1/2 inch piece of plywood or birch or whatever the hell it was called. It was something scrapped from work, and sitting on some 2x10s, cut to about 8 inches long. I've got 4 of them, and it's sitting on top of that. The machine is sitting sideways. Instead of sitting like this, it's sitting like that, and then the exhaust goes down through a factory hole in the floor. I pop a little rubber grommet out, and I can put the exhaust down through the floor. I hooked it up wrong the first time. For some reason, I flopped and flipped and whatnot, and I ended up hooking the exhaust up to the intake tube, and the intake up to the exhaust tube. So I ended up exhausting into the car for a little bit and ran the thing for 3 hours, just trying to warm the car up. Wondering why it was kind of stinky in the car. It was my own stupid fault. So since then, it's worked a whole lot better now that I found the little mistake and reversed it. And it runs more efficiently now too, because now it's not trying to burn itself to the ground. I did have to take the plastic skid plate out. I thought that was the problem. It was kind of starving itself for air. So I took that down. It's, I think, 5 10 mil bolts on the back, 2 more on the side, and then there's a lot of push pins, and you just pop the whole thing down. Now, I'm pretty sure right now it's taking a little bit of my range away, because now I've got basically a sail where the bumper would be. So I'm sure that it's causing some range problems right now, but I can't get a definitive answer on my range due to the fact that it is still March and we've got a foot of snow on the ground. And anything I do hinders my range. Right now I'm getting, I think, 5.2 kilometers to a kilowatt, which equates out to about 120, 140. But 40 is the, like, guessometer. It says, well, this is by math, should be what your range is, but actually I get about 100, 120. Like I said, I use about 80 getting to work. So there's that. So yeah, I've actually had to extend the wire for my display. I had extra wire and stuff like that, so I made an extension cable for the wire, because the wire itself would come up to about here, and that's going path of least resistance, straight through the center of the seat, and then that's as far as it will go, and that's not even routing it. So therefore, I made an extension cable with some extra parts and pieces I have around the house. They were Dorch, Dorche or something like that connectors, and I had the necessary 3-prong one to make an extension just past the fuel pump connector in the back, which is now wrapped up and then screwed to the bottom of the floor. What else? Oh, and then the exhaust, or the intake, or heater, is right there behind me. Right now, that is not the most ideal spot that I'd like to have it. Well, the first day, it shot me right here in the back of the head, and it felt like a sunburn for the longest time. My head felt like it was on fire the entire day because it dried out my skin and everything else, and it was just like, just trying to squirt some water and cool it down. The second day, I shot it a little bit further to the center. It seems to be working. It comes out to over here. Now, running this thing, I do find that it fogs up the windows because it's such a dry heat, and it's got moisture in it, or the fact that it's cold outside and it's causing condensation on the windows. Here nor there, I don't care. It causes the windows to fog up. However, if you run the factory heater and run just the defrost the window and just run the fan, nothing else, no AC, no heat, it will sufficiently keep the windows clear and then kind of circulate the air. I would like to get it, and I'm still in plans and figuring that out. Once it gets a little warmer, I'm going to go over top of that back seat, go down the center of the seat, have a vent come up and over the seat. Don't know what size I'm going to use, like PVC pipe. Come up and over the seat, down, and then go onto the floor, and then split, and then go underneath the seats. If I do that, then it will heat the wheel wells, or foot wells, and then go up, and then it will go through the recirculator. That's my plan. I don't know if it will work. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'd like to do it. So that's how I run the heater. The heater itself also comes with a little remote. So it's like remote starting your car, but it's limited range. So far I've done it to about 100 feet and then start it up, and then it does its thing and it warms up the car before I get in. The thing uses very little power. The display runs on 5 volts from the machine. So it's sitting in standby doing virtually nothing. So it uses very little power, and I've had the car unplugged, uncharged for about 2 days now. And it starts and drives like it normally does, and I don't notice any range difference because the main pack is charging the small battery. So other than that, it's fine. If you need to know more about how this thing operates, there's plenty of more review videos out there of how the display works and how the operation is of the machine. It's basically, I'm showing you what I did to put it in, and this is not a permanent solution as of yet. This was get it in, get it done, and see if the theory is functional. And it is. So I've got an 8,000 kilowatts heater. That's what they call it. There's a 2, 5, and 8. I figured for the space and for the temperature I'm going to be trying to drive this in, I figured I'd go big or go home. So I went and got an 8. Well, 8 will get this car up to 24, 26 degrees Celsius in like, it takes about 15-20 minutes, but it will get it there, and it is a very comfortable drive home. And then once it hits that temperature, it idles out and then slows down. And then once it figures that it's gotten cold, it'll kick back in, just like a normal heater for the auto one that's in the car. So it works really good. But everything from about my knees down is cold still until I start recirculating some of the heat. But then the windows fog up, then I gotta, it's a little bit of an dance. But other than that, for the hour drive that I've been driving, it's perfectly fine. So I'm going to whip you around and I'm going to show you what kind of I did in the back. So here we are at the back of the car. There's the vent. It's actually sitting this way between these two bolts. I've got a plate that goes down and hooks onto it. So the exhaust and the intake are going this way. So the heater pipe goes up this way. And just goes up and over the seat, and it's just kind of clipped in place with the little dongle. This is the tank. I did have it filled here about 4 days ago, so this is about 4 days worth of fuel. And once it gets down to about here, it cost me about $7 to fill it. So that was before the gas went up, or the fuel went up. So now it's $1.66, and I figured this will cost me about $20 to fill. So I can't see it very well, but there's the machine in all of its glory. And then under here is where the exhaust is. Like I said, it just goes underneath the hole and does its thing. And that's kind of how I've got it all set up. The machine there, the intake that you see it here is the intake, fuel pump, the hoses and all that stuff. Comes up, goes underneath the tank, and if it's gravity fed, it goes into the pump, which the pump sits right there, and then goes into the machine. And that's essentially it. So the cable I've got goes from the back of the machine, goes up through here, goes over, and then goes through the trim, goes down that side and comes over, and then from there I've got the cable that goes from the side, goes up and over to the display, and that's it. And like I said, it works pretty damn good. So like I said, if you want reviews and whatnot on the machine itself, on how well it works and what its functionality is, I would look up diesel heater on YouTube, and you'll find the information you're looking for. This is basically just how to stuff it into a Nissan Leaf. And for the range and battery capacity I have, I've only got, I think it said about 94% of my battery, which only gives me just a little over 20 kilowatts of power out of a 24 kilowatt. So this is how I am thinking of doing my my range problem. There's another individual that said he was going to do a inverter with a 1500 watt power or plug-in heater and see how well that functions on a different model of car. Again, he wanted to squeeze as much range out of it as possible. From a Facebook forum I was looking at, I honestly don't know if that would work very well. He's thinking with math, 2 hours is how long that will last. I test inverters at work on an 1800 watt inverter and two batteries. Mind you, the batteries aren't the greatest, but they're two big ass deep cycle batteries. Sorry, where was I? Neighbor came by and wanted to see some security camera. Apparently, he had somebody pilfer some stuff out of his van. Turns out, I don't know if he's got the right time or day. I'll have to scrub the video for days beyond that. But he was saying that his some tools and whatnot were pilfered out of his van. That was him knocking on the door. So as I was back to the thing, it was the gentleman says he was going to put it onto an inverter and then put the heater onto that, and he's figuring 2 hours it will run. I'm thinking at low temperature, maybe it would run that long, but at full tilts, depending on how big the inverter is and how many batteries he's putting in, I know one battery won't sustain it for more than probably half an hour before it goes and tilts. Now, if he's got it hooked up to the main charge of the thing, that I haven't figured out. Whether an inverter would run very well on the battery. Theory dictates that it should. If he's got the car charging the main battery for the 12 volt systems, and then having that daisy chain off to some more other deep cycles in the back, and then running a plug-in style heater, that might work. And it's kind of a interesting idea I want to try. Maybe to heat up the wheel wells, or why do I keep calling them wheel wells? It's foot wells. Instead of doing the way I'm doing it, it would definitely be a lot cheaper, but I don't know how well the heat would rise. Like I've got, like I said, an 8K heater, and it just bellows out heat. And I know 1500 watt heaters take a long time to do their job. Because I use just one for testing, and even just standing in front of it, I don't feel very warm. But this thing, I feel warm within a few minutes. So it will be interesting to see how his interpretation of it works. And I'm kind of going to try to see if I can follow him and see how well his theory will work. And maybe I'll implement some of it into mine to help mine out a little bit. As either a pre-charge to heat, and then fire up the other one to help it along later on when I'm driving down the road, and then shut that one off. I don't know. It all depends. So I wish him luck, and hope his idea works. But I'm going to sign off and continue on with my day. I'm currently working on some running boards behind me for the big ugly thing behind me. That is, I've got one running board here, and then I've got this valance, which is now going to be like this. So the idea is running board, and then I'm going to have some of these tucked in behind it, which right now already does. They're for the signal light, but this one's going to be white, and it's going to sit like that. And it's going to shine white onto the back of that, and then when you open up the door, illuminate the running boards. So, yeah, so that's me in a nutshell right now. It works really well. I'll keep you updated on how well and the progress. The progress goes on with the venting and whatnot when I get it better. Like I said, I'm waiting for a day where I'm not going to freeze my balls off trying to build things. Like I gotta either build an event out of aluminum or find some PVC and then go up and over the seat or whatever. I don't know. I haven't had a solid idea yet of how I'm going to do it because it's just too damn cold to go out there and muddle with it. And as you can see here, I don't exactly have the room to work on it in here. I need to get Beastie here out. And the door is frozen shut. Well, not frozen shut, but it's might as well be. There's a foot of snow behind that door. and the heating and cooling of the weather has pretty much turned it into a block of ice, and that door has zero tolerance to the ground. Pretty much like this one. This one's been opening and closing all winter because I've been driving cars in and out, and that thing there just keeps sweeping the shit away. But now it's getting to the point where it's I'm clipping mirrors as I go through that door, because that's how much it's folded in over the 6 months or so. So yeah, I gotta do that. So yeah, like, subscribe, follow me for more information on the Nissan, on how the heater works, and if you want, watch the other videos to the beast in front of me, and other stuff that I do. I do auto repair as well. Not so much nowadays because I've been working on the Queen Anne Titanic here. Other than that, I wish you adieu, and come back for more. Thank you.